So my skin is prepped. I have eye primer on and I have face primer on, and then the face primer that I have is, or that I have on right now, is the Smashbox Photo Finish foundation primer with broad spectrum SPF 20. It's just this little guy that was in a sun safety kit from Sephora. So I have that on, and the primer that I have on is Urban Decay's Primer Potion in Eden. So let's get to it. So the two, and I might be doing an intro, but if I haven't, I'm comparing the Beauty Blender with the Real Techniques sponge. Okay, so initially the first thing that I notice is this one dry is really hard, like very firm. It's still squishy once you wet it. Right now it's wet, but even when it's fully saturated with water, it's still firm in comparison to the Beauty Blender. Like if I pinch it like this, like there is noticeable sponge in between my fingers, if that makes sense, because when I pinch this, it almost feels like I could feel my fingers, like if I squeeze really hard. Can you see that? See how much my finger sinks in? I know that's such a weird way to compare, but like, I don't know if you could see that. When this is dry, this is of course more firm too, but I feel almost like when this is dry, how it feels is the same way when this is wet, if that makes sense. So I know that the Beauty Blender is made to be used wet because it's supposed to absorb the water, and it almost gives like an airbrushed finish, right? Because there's no lines if you use this, that's why it's round. So I will tell you right away that I'm not a big fan of this one because I feel like it doesn't distribute the product like this one. This one you just bounce it all over your face, and that's what I started to do when I first tried this, because I figured, well, if it's a dupe it must be the same way that you have to apply it, but I found that pressing it in didn't really work as well. So I tried it with a couple different foundations and I was not a fan of it. I tried it with Makeup Forever's HD. I've tried it with Laura Mercier's, what is it called? I got it in gratis. I can't remember. It's a very liquidy formula, but it's a very matte formula in a way. I think Flawless Finish foundation or something like that. But I was just like, this is doing nothing, and so I had to like drag the product down, almost like brush instead. So I'm gonna do half of my face with the Beauty Blender and then the other half with the Real Techniques sponge. The foundation that I am going to be using today is going to be the L'Oreal True Match foundation, and I have not tried this with the Real Techniques sponge, so we'll see how I feel about that when I start applying it. But I'm going to be mixing W3 and W2 because the W3 is almost too peachy even though it's supposed to be golden. I don't know if you can see, like my face is kind of red and stuff. I've got allergies like a mouthful right now. So if you hear me sniffling, that's why. But I'm like very yellow. I don't know if you can see it in camera on my neck. Like in the car, and I look in the mirror, I look almost fluorescent. Like that's how yellow I am. Okay, so I'm taking a little bit of that and a little bit of this. I'm gonna do half with the Real Techniques sponge. And by the way, this is really hard to clean, and you know I just put some foundation on here, so don't mind this as I get a little closer. But after I try to wash my Beauty Blender ideally every day, but usually every other day. So I did the same with this, and then by the third day, so it was like second washing because I washed it after the first day. Anyways, then after the second day or third use, basically, I washed it again. But then when that happened, when you massage in the cleanser, whatever cleanser you wind up using, just like really work it in so that way you can get your sponge clean. But I did the same thing with this and it started to tear. Can you see that? Like right here, it's torn up here and it's torn over there too. I'm so irritated about that. I'm like, that was a waste of money. So I'd rather spend more and get a product that seems to work better. So I'm gonna just go ahead and, so I'm gonna try doing that method like I do with the Beauty Blender. I'm using a tiny mirror, so I'm just gonna, I feel like it just absorbs too much product, like there's nothing happening here. Okay, let's see. This is making me, like, this makes me angry. I cannot stand this thing. And I don't put foundation around the eye area, so I just do my concealer there. I feel like it's even out the tone a little on, if you can see, like, you can see my freckles much more, so it's much more visible on the side than this side. I have friends on my face today. But yeah, let's try the Beauty Blender now and compare. I'm just dipping in the foundation. Okay, let's just see here. Plus it feels good. I'm like, can someone just bounce this on my face? I love how this feels. I just dipped it in once more to get a little bit more, not a lot of foundation to get this lower part. And a little bit more. And I don't know if you can tell, this side is much more flawless looking. I mean, I'm okay. I have embraced that my skin is not perfect, and it's not a day that I'm gonna perfect my skin, if you know what I mean. So I'm okay with it showing some flaws, which is fine, which I have that going on right there. But can you see that difference, like how it applied? Like, this stuff is the bomb. So I'm not happy with this Real Technique sponge. This will be going in my empties after this video. And of course I'll give a quick overview about it that day. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a little more foundation. I'm gonna do the other side that I used the Real Technique sponge with, and let's see if I can even myself out. Like, I have no more foundation. Okay. Okay, so I like the Beauty Blender better. Sorry, it's like covering my mouth. Much more than the Real Technique sponge. So I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can see the difference here. My hair is going crazy right now. But now, like, it looks just more even. It's not flawless, but it's more flawless looking version than what my skin was like before I applied foundation. It just distributes the product really nice. I need to try this with the Laura Mercier, is it Flawless? I can't remember the name. Flawless Fluid, Flawless something foundation, because that is super liquidy. So I will have to see if it like absorbs too much product, the Beauty Blender that is. I know it did with the Real Techniques, so yeah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish my makeup, and I'll come back on and maybe just give you a quick summary. Okay, so now that I have the rest of my makeup on, I'm actually gonna be heading out to work as soon as this video is done. So just a quick summary for you guys. So this is what the foundation looks as far as being applied with both, essentially. So in short, this is a lot cheaper. This is much more expensive. I think I paid, what is it, $6 or maybe $7 at the most. This is what, $19.50 or something. Yes, this is significantly more. However, I feel like the quality is just not there. This is much more dense. It doesn't really apply the product as flawlessly as this does. I don't know, like this, I can always count on this to give me this perfect application of the foundation. This is like started to, for me, deteriorate when I washed it 2 times, like on my second washing. And then this one I have used, like the last one that I had for, how long did I have it for? Months. Like, I think you're supposed to change it every 2 to 3 months, but that one I had for a while. I can't remember. I might have had it for about 4 months. I'm not sure. Maybe 3 or 4 months. But and it wasn't deteriorating. The only reason why is because I kept using long-wearing foundations. I didn't wash it as often as I was supposed to. I think if you use long-wearing foundations, you should probably wash it every single time you're done applying that particular foundation, because it started to get stuck inside, or like dried, basically. It dried up inside the Beauty Blender. So over months, it started to like get hard here. So when I would saturate the water, it wouldn't really grab onto the water here, because it almost like kind of stayed in the form that it was when it dried. So otherwise, if I use just your normal foundations, not ones that are targeted for long wearing, then I wash it at least every other day, if not every day. And I do use the Beauty Blender Solid Cleanser. That I find is the only product that really cleans this really well, but is also really delicate enough to use it so it doesn't deteriorate my sponge. I've used baby shampoo. I haven't used Dr. Bronner's. I might give it a shot just to see. I've used like brush cleansers and stuff like that, and that ruined my sponge. Like, I was not happy about it. So in short, really, if you have not tried this, but if you really like this, I don't know, I would say you could stick with it, but there is a huge difference in performance with this guy. So this one's going in my empties. This one is just my holy grail sponge, and I will use it forever until there's something better out there. So I hope that you guys like this review, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.